Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to a new episode of Words of Wellness. I'm your host, Yassir Al-Manawi, a clinical therapist. Today we're going to be talking about role model, character, and hospitality. We have a translation of a surah, ayah from Surah Al-Baqarah. So we're going to read the ayah, or the translation of the ayah, and then we're going to talk about it right after we read it. Surah Al-Baqarah. Ayah number 6 from Surah Al-Baqarah. And if anyone of the polytheists seeks your protection, then grant him protection, so that he may hear the words of Allah. Then deliver him to his place of safety. That is because they are people who do not know. Now, what do we understand from that? Well, always in the treatment of psychology, psychology or social psychology, or in treatment in general, we try to teach people good characters. When somebody is a counselor, he's also a teacher. So people actually come to treatment because they need help. What our reference to that is the main characters that we have to adhere to. Here, we're talking about even if people who do not believe in our belief system, we have to grant them security and hospitality, and then take them back to a place of safety. What does that mean? A lot of people, when they come in today's society, anywhere in the world, people only care about themselves. People don't care about anybody else. And that is a cause for a lot of emotional upsetness. That is a cause for a lot of imbalances, not only on a personal level, but also in a societal level. So what we need to do is that when somebody comes to treatment, we reconstruct their values, as I usually say. How do we reconstruct their values? By teaching them the values of doing something like hospitality. Like, let's say, if somebody comes to me in the office or in the clinic and they would tell me, well, okay, my neighbor, I feel like I want to kill him today because he does this and this and this and that, and he is very annoying. It's a common complaint. We hear about it a lot. However, are we to act upon our urges, like this guy who comes and he has this urge that he wants to do so and so to his neighbor? Is he going to act upon it? Well, hopefully not. But what do we talk to him? We talk to him about being patient, being hospitable, being able to accept people the way they are, to respect people the way they are, to respect their belief system. That actually increases our odds of having friends, of having followers, not only friends but followers. What do you see in a lot of situations is that I talked about somebody's neighbor. It could happen with a husband and a wife. They have a lot of problems because of little things, because he wants to change her to act like he wants, and she wants to change him to conform to her ways, and it doesn't work like that at all. What we need to do is that we need to have more respect to each other. We need to have more respect to each other's values. Hospitality now, if I'm going to go back to the neighbor issue, if this guy, this person, became hospitable to his neighbor, is he more able to change him or to convince him not to do this or that? I bet he is. But if he tries to fight with him and stop him at his tracks and tell him, you are not to do this and you are not to do that, I'm going to do this and that to you, or I'm going to call the police, or, if he starts fighting, he's not going to gain anything. That's why I think God gave us our brain, to be able to use and think in a lot of situations like that. Let's talk about hospitality again. A lot of people in the community, they isolate and they don't invite anybody in their houses. Why? Because they don't like them, because they don't feel comfortable with them, because other people don't act the same way they want them to act in their houses. So what does that mean? You end up with a lot of isolation. You end up with a lot of emotional imbalances. What we need to do, remember when we talked about camaraderie? You remember when we talked about feeling good about yourself, feeling happy, feeling well about yourself? That's the hospitality. I know people that actually gain more friends just by inviting them, even though they don't totally agree with their way of life or their way of dealing with things. But they invite people and they start showing them how they live. And they open their houses for them. By that, it's leading by example. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people, we think that people know. We think that people know everything. Because if I know, so why not everybody else knowing it? Well, that's not true. This is not a correct statement. Because what I know, somebody else may not know. What somebody else know, I may not know. So I don't want to assume that people know values and my belief system and all of that. What I need to do is that I need to share it. And the best way to share it is by example. By example meaning that I open my arms to other people. I show them my ways. And you know what? Maybe sometimes they say, oh, yeah, that's the right way. And they will change if your way is right. And don't forget, sometimes your way could be wrong, not right. Maybe it was somebody else showing you the way. You will be able to say, oh yeah, I didn't know that I was doing this wrong all of my life, but now I know the right way. Without embarrassment, without anything. This is the best way to minimize embarrassment between people. For instance, if you want to teach somebody a good value, are you going to take him by hand and tell him, come on, sit down here, I'm going to tell you something, I'm going to teach you a lesson? If you do that, I bet they're going to say, and who died and made you God? Who are you to tell me that? I don't want to hear it. So what you need to do is that you need to teach by example. And we have the best teacher who taught us that, Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. So we do not embarrass other people. We do not make them feel that they don't know or that they are inadequate. We don't want to bring these feelings up. So this is a way to do it. And the best way to sum it up is being hospitable. Being hospitable is not just giving food and water. Being hospitable is in the way of behavior. I have to have a hospitable behavior. That's what I need to do with everybody. So when you think about hospitality, I don't want you to think about food and water. Yeah, they have to come, I feed them, or I make them tea or coffee or whatever. You need to realize the behavior and watch it with them. So with that, I'll leave you for today's episode, and I hope it was beneficial to you. And inshallah, we'll meet again in the next episode. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.